Hey y'all, hey, and welcome to another session of Meditations with Marigny. So this one is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to use my teacher skills and I am going to share something with you that God kind of shared with me a few months ago, and I think that it will be beneficial to the whole. So I'm not going to keep the information just to myself. If you have enjoyed my videos and you like my content, I would love for you to click like. And even if you haven't, if you would click like to help my algorithms in YouTube, I would appreciate it. If you click like, if you would share it with a friend, and if you would subscribe, those things help our videos to gain traction with YouTube and how they push them out to the community. But this video is from a spiritual perspective. And the title that I came up with is Ladies, Don't Settle If He Does Not Have the Capacity to Carry You. And I want to make sure that I give clarity in what I'm saying with this. I am not speaking of a man who is taking care of a woman or providing for her financially or just simply uh, able to monetarily care for her. That is the driving force that I hear in content building right now. And that is also an area that I see that there is a major move and shift where there is a strong male side to this component and there's a strong female side to this component. And so I want to give a little bit of clarity as to what God showed me in reference to that statement. So it's a, again, the title is Don't Settle. I did a video a while back on don't settle, like what settling looks like for a woman in a relationship. And we don't need to settle, neither men nor women, to be honest with you. There has been some settling on both sides. And that's why we kind of like in the road where we are right now. That's why we have people that have been married 25, 30 years and they're getting divorced at this time because they settled at one point in their marriage and they did not ever look at the capacity for that relationship. So this is what I'm going to say. Even though I'm speaking to the ladies, men, I want you to look at this from a different perspective of being able to see what type of woman that you need in your life. But also, I will come back and do another video for men from the not necessarily the male perspective, but to share with you what I think you need to possibly look for in a woman that you would be desiring in your life. Some components that might be some key factors to help you. So I looked up the word capacity because I said don't settle. And I'm talking about settling because remember, my channel is mostly for people that are 40, 50, 60 years old. That's what the algorithms show me. And most of them are women. Most of the people that watch my videos are ladies. So I'm speaking more to the ladies simply because that's what the algorithms show. But I do believe that multiple people, ages, race, and different creeds could learn from what God has given me on this. So I looked up the word capacity. Capacity, according to Google, the word capacity means the maximum amount that something can contain, right? The maximum amount. That means that it can't take any more than that. It's reached its highest capacity. It is not going to be able to add to anything else into that particular item. And then the second portion of that, it said the amount that something can produce. That means that their capacity is the highest amount or highest level that they can produce at, right? And then there was another portion that says fully occupying the available area. So as a teacher, I think about fully occupying the available area. One of the things that I have to do, and you'll find this with many teachers, oftentimes we keep things because we always like, oh, I can use this for this lesson, or I can use this for that lesson. And I know, some teachers, if they've been teaching a long time, they got all kinds of stuff that they've been holding on to for years because it's fully occupying the available area or space. Then the next part says the ability or power to do, experience, or understand something. So the ability or power to do, experience, or understand something. So I want to kind of break all of those down, and I'm going to use some practical household items to give a clear visual of what I mean when I say don't settle if he does not have the capacity to carry you, right? So these are some basic household items that I have here. This is one of those little containers that you put ketchup or a sauce or something in when you're eating at the table. And you put it in this because the capacity of what you're going to eat is going to pretty much be like a small bowl of something. Or I use it for my nacho cheese here at the house, or sometimes for like ranch dressing or something of that sort. So this can only carry so much in it. This, once you fill it up, it doesn't matter how much more that you want. You either got to go back to the refrigerator and get some more of that, or you got to go back to the crock pot and get some more of that, because this can only carry a certain amount in that. This is a little tea light candle container. So it can hold a little bit more than this. So they could both be used for the same thing, but this one is able to carry just a little bit more. But the difference is, you see that? Even though this one is smaller, it cannot fit inside of this, which means that no matter the fact that this has the capacity to carry more, because this is not a good fit, it does not fit down inside of there, right? All right. However, if we look at this one, this capacity is smaller than this one, right? But the difference is this jar has the capacity to carry that. So in a relationship, and this was so good when God gave it to me, you have to look at whether or not that man has the capacity to carry you. And when I say carry you, again, I'm not talking about monetarily things. Money is good. But honestly, if we come together and we're both doing what we got to do, and we both getting up and we're going to work every day, we can make it. If you don't live outside of your means, if you live within your means and you make decisions that are financially sound and stable, you are able to make it off of the capacity that God is giving you. And it works, right? But the difference is, this was going to be a struggle, because even though it had the capacity to carry it, it did not fit. Now, let's look to see. This right here has the capacity to fit inside of there as well. It fits inside of this particular jar. All right, let's move on to the next item. This is just a basic cup. The cup has the capacity to carry that jar, right? So if you know that you are a cup kind of woman, right? You can't have a relationship with a man that only has jar capacity, because at some point you are not going to want to follow his lead. You are not going to want to follow his guidance. You are not going to want to follow his order, which is the direct order of God, right? So you have to look at that. Is it a good fit? Even though it fits inside, is that a good fit if the woman is the cup and the man is the jar? Okay, next. I'm going to move a little bit faster because I don't want this video to be real long. I want it to be more impactful than it is long. This has the capacity to carry this, right? But one of the things that I looked at, and I didn't even do this until just now, I just put these items together, and God, I figured, would just give me what would need to be done. I want you to look at when this went inside, the lip of this cup fits right around the rim of this jar, right? Because of that, that means that there is additional space inside of here that cannot be consumed. So even though this cup fits inside of this particular jar, I would say that it's not a good fit, because if you fill the cup, there's no room for overflow. There's no room for him to grow. There's no room for him to guide you. There's no room for him to add anything to you, because it already fits the full capacity of the rim. That's good. That's real good. And the thing is, even with men, and I think like I said, I'll do a separate video for them. You don't want somebody that is such a tight fit to you that there's no flexibility, that she has no room for anything else to go inside of there but herself. What do you do when you come to a place where you need to be filled, or you need a little bit of the overflow that you've already given? So, in my opinion, even though I say that this fits inside, I would say that the capacity, when it said fully occupying the available area, the capacity of this cup does not fully occupy the available area. However, let's look at this one. This jar right here, because of the way that it's shaped. So that's good. God is downloading this right now while we're talking. This is shaped a certain way. It has the capacity to fit down in there, but it's too tall. What about if we look at this one? It has the capacity to not only fit inside, but it's small enough that it can receive the overflow. So it can be poured into, and then there's still room for him to be his own individual self, to make sure that he's able to stretch her, to make sure that he's able to lead her, to guide her, to make mistakes. You guys, sometimes I don't think we really think about the fact that being the lead and the head of a household, you have to leave grace for the opportunity to make errors. We all make errors. I'm making some decisions right now, and I'm prayerful about them, and I believe that God is leading me in that direction. But I can't tell you that it's easy, and I can't tell you that it is a comfortable place for me, because it is hard for me to make the decisions that need to be made. But this is the part that I want to get to. All right, we see this jar right here. And if you know that you are a woman who has this level capacity, you cannot then date or be with someone who has this, because at some point you are going to want to usurp his authority, or you are going to feel inadequate of how he's able to give to you. Now, can this work? Yes, it can. But it takes a lot of work to make it work. It takes a lot of communication. It takes a lot of understanding. It takes a lot of submission, ladies. We talked about that word a few weeks or months ago in my videos. You still have to be able to submit. And so if the choice that you make, especially for the women that are on my channel, most women that I am speaking to, I am talking to ladies who are looking at their second, some their third marriages. So this is not a new process for you, but it is a process that you need to look closer. I am looking at myself closer for what I know I need. And I am not settling, because if I settle, and I want to say settling as in there was nothing wrong with this jar, but I know that if I am this type woman, this is going to frustrate me, because I know that I need for him to have the capacity to carry me. I didn't know that when I was 20. I didn't know that when I was 30. And I didn't really learn it until I got to my 40s. And I was already married by that time. I was already in a relationship with someone who could have had the capacity, but they chose not to. And so when it comes to that, you need to understand what your ability to walk in your femininity, for one, because that's something that is very important to me at this time. I have had to walk in a more masculine era for the past 10 years or so. And I don't want to do that. I want someone that I know can pull that feminine portion out of me. And I believe, based upon my Christian beliefs, I believe that God built us that way. That when you enter into the room or you step into the atmosphere with a man who has that masculine component, he will then draw that out of you. It's a natural effect. So if you are a woman that you that went to school, got your degrees, you banging with the business, you working in the community, you doing all these different things, you have the capacity to do multiple things. It will be very difficult for you to So for me, like, it would be very difficult for you to then have someone that's kind of like a homebody, that is good with just going to work every day and coming home and chilling at the house. That's going to frustrate you at some point. So what I know is that You have to have a man that has the capacity. I'm not advertising the bucket, but I'm advertising the capacity. If you are this, you're going to need this. You're going to need somebody that can then pour into you, but also you can take, and there's going to be an overflow for him. He has to have the capacity to be able to develop and grow and still move within himself. One of the things that God was showing me this morning is that in marriage, so often we think that that means that we have to give up who we are. I am so confident in who I am and so strong in my personality trait that I am very comfortable with being me by myself. And when you find that, I did a video a while back called I Don't Need a Man. I think I uploaded it here. If it's not here, I know I put it on my Facebook page. But in the video, you would think I'm saying I don't need a man. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you don't need a man. You know you are ready for a man when you don't need him. When you're in a place where you don't need his finances, you don't need his ability to affirm you, you don't need for him to have to pour into you on a regular and consistent basis, and you are comfortable in your own skin. You have grown enough, you have worked on yourself enough, you have developed enough that you can stand alone as an individual. Then you're ready for a relationship. I thought I might have been ready for a relationship a couple of years back. I wasn't. I had to do more work, and I had done some work at that time. But since that time, I see even more the work that I have done. I'm even more clear with the things that I know that I need for me. I know that I'm going to have somebody in my life that can make me laugh. I know that he's going to have a very serious tone to himself, but he's going to have to know how to laugh at his own stuff. He's going to have to laugh at himself when he makes mistakes and when he makes errors, so that we can then know how to process past that. I know that I need somebody that has direction and they have the ability to make decisions, because I can make a decision. And so if I'm the type of person that I can make a decision, then it looks like, okay, well, she's trying to take over. No, she's really not trying to take over. But if you give me a choice of A or B, I'm going to make a choice. I'm not going to stand on the sideline and be like, oh, well, I don't know. Should I go with A? Should I go with B? At some point, you got to have a deadline and you got to make a decision. And when you are a woman that walks in that strength, you can then be the feminine woman that you need to be when you step into his presence, because you're able to walk in the capacity of whatever it is that you have. When you step into his presence, you already know that he has it even the more. So I want you guys to think about the fact that we all have a level of what the definition says, fully occupying an available area or space. And that's one thing that I kind of wanted to talk about. Sometimes we choose people based on their looks, based on their things. You know, one guy said to me recently that he felt like many women chose him because of the material things that he could provide. But then I also have to look at him and wonder, what are you doing that makes them feel that way? Because if you lead with your wallet, men, I did a video about that a while back. Stop leading with your wallet. If you lead with your wallet, then that's what she's going to see. But if you lead with your personality, if you lead with your masculinity, and I'm not talking about control. If you have been around masculine men like I have for most of my life, most of those men, even though they were decision makers, they were not necessarily controlling. They made decisions, but their wives had input in everything that was done. And oftentimes their final decision was based upon around what was best for that family. So, you know, when you think about, according to Google, it says the maximum amount that something can contain. Sometimes we choose people that they're already operating at their maximum capacity, but then we want them to come up to another level. No, at this age, you have to look at people where they are, and where they are is pretty much what you're going to get. If they are 40, they still got some adjustments going on. If they've hit 50, a lot of times what you see is what you get. Unless it's a person that connects with them and they have a high level of communication, they are able then to work through that process. But then sometimes people are not willing to put in that work. So you have to kind of decide what is it that you want. At this age and stage, do you want to do the work? And do you want to have a level of flexibility, or do you want to stay single and not have that flexibility? And that's a choice that any of us can make. That's a good choice for all of us. So I just wanted to come on and talk about that for a minute. And I think I'm going to come back and do a part 2. So I think I'm going to make this part 1. And then I'll come back and do a part 2 where I'm just going to sit and give some content and some ideas in reference to that. If you like this video, I hope you did enjoy it. If you liked it, I'd love for you to click like. I would love for you to share it with a friend. And I would be honored if you would subscribe. Have a great day, y'all. Bye.